This is the tutorial lesson for division with the remainder as a decimal, and I'll try to keep this a nice and short lesson so that we can get it done quickly, but hopefully we can make it so that you understand it very clearly. So I'm going to go ahead and do this first problem, 433 divided by 5. And this is the we do. Go ahead and copy this down onto your tutorial worksheet. We'll do this one together. So we're going to do 433 divided by 5. Those of you who did the remainder as a fraction lesson already, tutorial already, this is the same number we used for that one. We're just reusing it now. And instead of having the remainder become a fraction, we're going to show what the remainder looks like if we chose to use a decimal instead. So we're going to ask ourselves, does 5 fit into 4? No, 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 it does not fit into 4. Oops, I forgot my gel cells. Or graph paper. It's the way to keep it neat. Especially when you're doing decimals, you definitely want to keep it neat. Okay, so 5 does not fit into 4, so I'm going to say so. And 0 times 5 is 0. Subtract. Check to make sure this is smaller than this. It is. If it were bigger, then we'd know, oops, it would have fit up here. But it's smaller, so we're good. Bring down the next player. And then does 5 fit into 43? 5 fits into 43. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 9 is 45, which would be too high. So it's got to be 5 times 8, which is 40. Subtract. 3 take away 0 is 3. 4 take away 4 is nothing. That is smaller than that, so I can bring the next player down to play. And then I'm going to ask myself, does 5 fit into 33? 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 7 is 35, which is too high. Blew my eyebrows off, so it's got to be 5 times 6, which is 30. Subtract. And in the previous tutorial, when it was just a fraction, we said, oh, the answer is 86, and 3 out of 5 is left, 3/5. But today we're working on decimals. So, and they mean the same thing. A fraction is not the whole thing, a decimal is not the whole thing. So we're going to find the equivalent decimal to 3/5 right now. So what we'll do is just kind of extend that out, and since there is not already a decimal living in here, then it's there, it's just kind of hiding in the shadows there. So go ahead and show him up and float him up, and make the cage, the gel cell, go right over the top of him. And we're going to put a 0 to help that drowning 3 and send him on down. Does 5 fit into 30? Yep, it does. 5 times 6 is 30. 0 remainder means I get to stop. I'm all done. The answer is 86.6, which was the same as 86 and 3/5. Those are exactly the same amount of money, or whatever. So let's try this now as a you do then, and you go ahead and do this number, 217. I'm going to put it over here so I have more room. 217 divided by 4. Go ahead and try that on your own, and then if you get stuck, push play so I can catch up with you, or if you get all the way to an answer, push play so you can see if you got it right. Alright, let's see how we did. I'm going to check and see if 4 fits into 2. 4 does not fit into 2. No, 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 it does not fit. So I'll say 0. 0 times 4 is 0. And I get a 2 remainder. I check to make sure this is smaller than this. It is. If it was bigger or the same, I know I could have fit 4 into it, but it's smaller, so that's good. Bring down the next number. Can 4 fit into 21? It can. 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times 6 is 24, which is too high, so it must be 4 times 5, which is 20. Subtract. Check and make sure your remainder is less than your divisor. It is. Now you can bring down the next player. And then I ask myself, 4 fits into 17 how many times? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20, which is too big, so it must be 4 times 4. So I'll say 4. That's a 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. and I get a remainder 1. If I were doing just the fraction, I would say, oh, so it's 54 and 1 out of 4 is left, 1/4. But today I'm doing the decimal. So I'll do decimal, because I don't see any decimal already in here. I'll do the decimal, and I'll float it up. And I'll continue my gel cells right on that. I will add a 0 to save that drowning 1. 4 will fit into 10. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12, which is too high, so it's got to be 4 times 2. And I get 8. 10 take away 8 is 2. Throw a lifesaver down. And 4 fitting into 20, exactly 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. So your answer is 54.25. Now, one of the things that was confusing people, I mean, it ended right there, so I'm done. One of the things that was confusing people last time was when it kept going. You know, maybe you didn't have, because this one came out 4 times 5 was 20, and I came out with a 0 remainder. Well, what if you didn't get a 0 remainder and I had to keep going and I'm dividing for the rest of my life? But remember, I'm not going to make you do that. You get to the, you go past the 10th place, past the 100th place, but I'm not going to make you go on and on forever. So if this had a remainder here and you had to throw another 0 down, that would be your last 0 I would expect you to throw down there. And then you would just find out, if you go back to your remembering how to do rounding numbers, if you could just find out if the next number that was going to go up here was an up number in your rounding numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or a stay number from your rounding numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you could find out what it was, then you could tell this guy here, the 5, the number in the 100th place. This number would tell this number to go up or to stay, depending on what it was. So that way you could stop. So if this had had a remainder and we had to go one more time, that would just be your last time. I'm not going to make you divide out forever. So you could find out what this next one is in the 1000th place is the name of that place value. You've got the 10th, 100th, the 1000th place is where you have to go to just to find out if it's up or stay, and then make the 100th place go up if it needs to, or stay the same, and then be done with it. Alright, so try the tutorial practice questions on your tutorial worksheet and see if today's tutorial lesson helped you be able to handle that a little bit better this time than before. Good luck!